biggest shame about it all, about him leaving this summer, is I just think he would do so well under Frank. I just think Frank would get the absolute best out of him and used him horribly wrong, in my opinion. Got him running way too much, overplayed, overworked. Yeah, some of it was forced because of the injuries, but just the way that he was managing within games, I thought it's no way to manage a 31-year-old.
Like I don't think he goes and struggles. I think he's still really, really good. I don't think I don't think he needs to go to Saudi. I think he's still capable of playing at the top level, 100%. But it
Yeah.
might just be more his. I get. I just get the feeling it's more how he's feeling rather than anything about us wanting to get rid of him because he's not going to fit what Frank's going to do or anything like that. I still think we think he's amazing and everything like that. It's just, you know, is it a case of his chapter of his career is over? He might feel that way.
As Matt Law says, that Son left people within the club with the impression that he might have played his last game for the club, and that was after the last day against Brighton with the goodbyes and the style of the goodbyes that he was saying. And he's also said that on the show that there's been a willingness to move to Saudi once his Spurs career is over. And he said he'd rate the chances of Son leaving Spurs now at over 50%.
Yeah, it's the feeling I get. It's just the feeling I get by how he's speaking, how he was talking about his future. It's not something that I like or want to say. It's just I have to be honest about the feeling I get. I don't want to sell him. I never want to see Sonny leave, and it's going to be a weird day to see a Sonny-less Tottenham. And I'd like to see him stick around for as long as possible. And I do believe under Frank he could be a lot better, and he could get the best out of him again. But I just get the feeling he might want something new. I just get the feeling he might feel like his time at Tottenham's done. 10 years at the club, lending it, last ever game, lifting that trophy. What a way to go. Maybe he's just feeling, is it time for a new chapter in his career? And that's just the gut feeling I get. And by him saying, I don't know what next season, holds and that kind of stuff, when he's the club captain, and you would think, even though he's got a year left of his contract, he will be saying he's looking forward to the new season and looking forward to working under Frank. He's not saying that. He's saying, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that kind of sounds like you're looking to leave, to be honest. And it all depends. Obviously, a lot depends on football. Again, as I've always said, a lot of moving parts. So a lot depends on, is there a club coming in for a good offer? Is it a club he wants to go to? All these different things. But I think if everything aligns, I think there's a good chance we might have seen the last of Sonny, unfortunately. But look, we are going to have that pre-season tour with him, whatever happens. So we'll get to see him again in a Tottenham shirt. But whether I think it's pretty likely we'll see him as well in the Super Cup, I would say. But after that, that might be it for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a very sad day, and I think I'll be more gutted when Sonny leaves than when Harry Kane leaves. And I think probably as the last player, or the one player that sticks in my mind that I was just totally distraught when he left was David Ginola, when George Graham pushed him out the club. Showing my age a bit there, maybe, but yeah, I think it'll be a bit similar with Sonny. He's not being pushed out the club. Quite contrary, I think that Spurs have offered him the contract and want him to stay, but he's the one that didn't want to sign it. Tom Allnut was on here a few days ago, and he said if Spurs had their way, Sonny would retire here and end his career here. So it's a shame. It's a shame, but from his point of view, yeah, I can see why. I can see why he wants to leave. Like, chasing that trophy for so long. Once the trophy's done, so much change happening at the club. And maybe he has more things he wants to do outside of Tottenham before he ends his career. So, look, it'll be a sad day, but I won't hold anything against him for wanting to leave.
I do wonder if, because obviously the pre-season tour is very close to the game in Udine in Super Cup. So I do assume if he's going to be here for the pre-season tour, unless a deal gets done extremely quickly and it's all ready to go, I think there's a good chance he'll be here for the Super Cup. And I do wonder how that would influence his thinking if he is playing in that game and either we win or we lose. Probably if we lose that game, maybe it doesn't change anything. But I feel like he plays and he scores the winner, gets another trophy. Will he think, oh, you know what, one more year? Or would he be like, you know what, and that's another trophy. That's another last game. Time to really end on a high. I do wonder whether that will influence his thinking or not.
You know, if that does happen, right? And if that does happen, and he scores the winner in the Super Cup, I want to see a Wolf of Wall Street style press conference after that. With Sonny coming into the press, going, I'm not fucking leaving.
That'll be epic. That'll be unbelievable. We can all dream of scenarios like that. Let's hope. I think. Look, obviously, right now everything's still obviously fresh. We're not even. Well, we're a month after the Europa League when he hasn't got back to pre-season even. I don't even know if he's had a conversation with Frank. So his mindset now might be different to his mindset, in a few weeks. Who knows? But right, I can understand right now. He's on holiday or whatever. He's just been away in Korea. He's back home. 10 years with Tottenham. He's finally won that trophy. He's taken the trophy. He's parading around Korea. And, all this talk of change, and new managers come in, Andrew's been sacked. There's all this change going on. Maybe he feels like he's not part of it. Maybe he just feels like, with all the change, he's part of that change and it's time for him to leave. But maybe Frank can talk him out of that way of thinking. Maybe Frank can say, look, I know you're thinking like that, but I think you're a serious part of this team. I think I really want you to, this is how I want to use you. I think you'll be scoring 20 Premier League goals or anything. You know what? Well, maybe I'll give it another year. Maybe he'll change his mind. But I think right now, I can understand that's kind of how he feels.
The biggest shame about it all, about him leaving this summer, is I just think he would do so well under Frank. I just think Frank would get the absolute best out of him and used him horribly wrong, in my opinion. Got him running way too much, overplayed, overworked. Yeah, some of it was forced because of the injuries, but just the way that he was managing within games, I thought it's no way to manage a 31-year-old. And look, he got great out of him in terms of goal contributions, top goal contributor in the squad. But I think if you use Sonny in the right way now, you can get so much more out of him, in my opinion. And I think Frank would do that.
Yeah, and we know that when he's on form, he's our best attacker. He's our best forward player when he's on form. Unfortunately, we just haven't seen that kind of form at his very best. But we saw bits of it in Andrew's first season. But I think last season, once he exclusively moved to the left, we just didn't see it enough. But it's still there. We know it's still there.
But we saw it in snippets last year.
Yeah. I don't believe this, the narrative he's finished or anything like that. I think he's got so much to offer. I think he can easily go to a really good European club and smash it out somewhere. I don't think he goes and struggles. I think he's still really, really good. I don't think he needs to go to Saudi. I think he's still capable of playing at the top level, 100%. But it might just be more his. I just get the feeling it's more how he's feeling rather than anything about us wanting to get rid of him because he's not going to fit what Frank's going to do or anything like that. I still think we think he's amazing and everything like that. It's just, is it a case of his chapter of his career is over? He might feel that way.